Welcome to Around Town, and we are in Rocky Mount's Imperial Center. Delighted to be here today, and we're going to be talking about the Tar River Orchestra and Chorus. And we've got Reese Adams, who does marketing for them, also works at Lewis Advertising, and conductor Al Sturgis, who's much more than the conductor of the orchestra. You've got, you just manage a lot of groups, you teach, you do, and we'll get into some of that. But thank you for coming.
Thank you, Jean. Good to be with you again.
Well, we really appreciate it, and we are here to launch the season again. It's different this year, right, Reese?
Yeah, it is different. We're going to do 6 concerts, and a couple of things that are different. The first thing, the Children's Choir, which is our most popular organization for a number of reasons, is going to perform in 3 of those concerts. So it's a chance for people to see that a lot more and get them to perform a lot more, and use that as a way to get people exposed to our organization. And the other big difference is, in the past, all of our concerts have been at the Dunn Center. We love the Dunn Center. It's a great facility. It's been great for us. But we decided we wanted to take the music into the community.
Perfect.
So we are going to churches. We're going to Nash Community College. We're even going to our board of directors chairman backyard, Dr. Crocker.
So beautiful backyard.
It is a beautiful backyard. We're going to celebrate America out there next May with a backyard, block party with American music.
Good old fashioned.
Absolutely. And so the differences are, we're going to be in the community, and we're going to have the Children's Choir involved a lot more.
Because of that, there are fewer tickets though, right? So people need to really jump in and buy them. And I have to say, if people have not bought tickets before or not attended these, this is such a gem for our area. I mean, it brings culture, it builds brain cells, I think, to listen to music. It's just a marvelous gift and gem that we have in the Rocky Mount area. So the fact that there are fewer seats, where can people buy tickets, Reese?
Well, we wrap the whole thing around the theme Love It Live, because we think that there is literally nothing like live music, both from a performance point of view and also from an audience point of view. And there's an energy that goes back and forth between those two entities that makes every performance a once-in-a-lifetime performance. So we believe in the live music. Smaller venues, that people are going to be closer to the music, closer to the musicians, and really feel like they're part of that. We are still selling tickets through the Dunn Center. So you can still get tickets at the Dunn Center box office. You can get tickets at duncenter.com. You can buy tickets online at our website, which is tarriverloveitlive.com. And we'll probably put up a phone number as part of the show as well to give you a phone number to call.
And I've seen your promotional material all over town, kind of a hot pink type of thing, which lists all the different 6 concerts.
Right.
And we're going to keep airing this, but the first one is November 7th, Beethoven.
Yes.
Al, you want to tell us about that?
It's a Beethoven blowout to open the season this year. Yeah. Just before I get into the Beethoven, I just want to touch on a little something that Reese said, because I think that what excites me about this Tar River organization is the community outreach. It's so key to this organization, and what makes it unique is the fact that we have all these different ensembles. So we're going to talk about the orchestra and the chorus, the first collaborative concert, the children's chorus that Reese mentioned. There's also the swing band, the symphonic wind ensemble. So there are all these different organizations within the Tar River umbrella. So there's something literally for everyone in the community. But we hope that people will get excited about the Beethoven concert, because that does combine our orchestra, as I mentioned, and also our adult choir. And we'll be bringing over a selection of singers from the North Carolina Master Chorale over in Raleigh to
and you
supplement.
Lead that, right? Or
yes,
direct
I
that?
serve as their music director as well. So this is going to be sort of a joint production. We're going to do a performance in Raleigh on November 2nd at the Mamandi Concert Hall on a Sunday afternoon. Then we'll repeat it November 7th over here. So it'll be a chance for...
Say that again. I mean, I think that really speaks volumes for the caliber Maymanda, and then that same thing is coming right over to Rocky Mount.
So our orchestra here in Rocky Mount will be featured on a concert over there in Raleigh, and then we'll repeat it over here at First United Methodist in downtown Rocky Mount.
Talk about how that sort of cross-pollination happens between groups, because I know that happens a lot with groups at all levels.
Right.
And so talk a little bit how that maybe happened and how that got connected and what that's about.
The logical connection was through me, since I serve both organizations, but I mean, it really is a win-win, a collaborative thing like this, because, you know, resources for live music these days are, you know, it's harder and harder to come by. So we can sort of pool our resources and sort of serve both communities at the same time, and then we share expense for the concert. And it just becomes it just makes sense from a business standpoint, a structural standpoint.
But you make it happen too, and I'm sure Reese will jump in and say too that if we didn't have, because your talent is in all of these venues. I mean, and you have experience. You teach, you direct, you singing and instruments. You can do it all. And so without your talent and your willingness to work with us, which we're most grateful for, thank you.
No, I'm grateful for the opportunity. In fact, I came to Rocky Mount through my position with the Carolina Ballet as their music director. I guess it was probably about 11 or 12 years ago. I was conducting with the ballet, and I think Tony Suter was involved in bringing the ballet. She was on the ballet board and brought the ballet to the Dunn Center, and I came as the ballet's conductor. And at that point, they were looking for someone, and Dan Crocker, of course, was the chairman, and he was playing in the orchestra, second trumpet, and said, we're looking for a conductor for the orchestra. Would you be interested? And so that's sort of how I came through those, again, through that different kind of collaboration with the ballet. But
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The one thing I want to point out, which is wrapped around all that, is, and I know these terms get used a lot, but this is going to be a world-class performance. The North Carolina Master Chorale is a world-class organization. The soloists that they're bringing over are world-class and have that level of performance experience. The Tar River Philharmonic also adds to that, and a lot of those musicians come from the Raleigh area as well as here.
And Greenville.
And so it's a very rare thing in a community of this size to have this one performance. We're going to put together about 6 of these performances in different combinations by the time the next 6 to 8 months are over. So this, as our first concert for the season, November 7th, it's going to be at the First United Methodist Church here in Rocky Mount. Very intimate facility. You're gonna feel like you're singing or playing with the group.
And a wonderful warm acoustic that we have inside the church, because it's built for that kind of music. And for me, I think some of the most beautiful music written is music that combines voices with orchestra. The choral orchestral masterworks, of which this Beethoven Mass is one of those. Beethoven, a lot of folks know his symphonies and his piano concerti and things like that. He wrote 2 wonderful masses, and this Mass in C that we're going to be singing was the earlier one, the first, and then later in his life, around the same time he wrote the Ninth Symphony, he wrote this larger mass called the Missa Solemnis. But the Mass in C is a wonderful, intimate work, beautiful soaring melodies, big climactic moments with all the chorus voices combined, singing with orchestra accompaniment. I mean, it can't be beat.
And this is really a family event too, isn't it, Reese?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we need to inspire our young people to see wonderful music and participate and feel like they're part of it too.
And speaking of young people, on this particular concert we will feature our Young Artist Concerto Competition winner, and this is a young cellist named Shanae Ra. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right.
14 years old,
14 years old,
wow.
And she won our competition, and she'll be playing the Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto. So what a wonderful, inspiring thing for kids to come and see. Someone that young who's that accomplished on the instrument to perform with the orchestra.
And I read her bio a little bit, and she has won contests just all over. I mean, she is just, we're going to hear from her about her the rest of her life, aren't we?
Absolutely. And she's only been in this country for 2 years, which is, to me, is amazing.
And right here in Rocky Mount, right?
And she is amazing, and again, it's just a great addition to that overall program. By the time we're done with the list, we're going to have 4, 5, 6 different groups, individuals and soloists rounding that out. And, Gene, you mentioned that there's research about that music helps learning, and again, that's another part of our whole story with the Tar River Orchestra and Chorus, is that live music, being exposed to live music. Kids that study arts and music literally do better on tests, even tests like ACT tests, as they get older and move through life. So the other thing we hope to do is continue to expose families and kids and get them exposed to this as they grow up and get excited about it and want to be part of it.
And Reese, I think you really hit on something. Early exposure is really the key. And people will ask, well, how old should I wait? You know, how old should my kids be before they come to a concert? Bring them young, you know, and if they're not digging it, you can always get them out of the room if they need to.
And they do need to get them out of the room if they're not digging it.
Well, it depends. I think if they're being disruptive, yeah,
right,
I think that's the polite thing to do for the rest of the audience. But there are movement breaks and things like that where they can have a little chance to fidget if they want to. But I think for the most part, people are going to find that the kids are going to be just transfixed by this. Not only because they can hear it in the movies and hear it on TV, but to actually see it live, to love it live, to borrow one of Reese's marketing catchphrases, to have that experience, to see it live is really a wonderful thing. And just to watch what the instruments are doing, to produce a sound and make the sound.
There's a lot of activity,
a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I have to say, and there's so much music out that I don't prefer that children listen to that doesn't have good themes and whatnot. So this is a chance to really introduce them to beautiful music.
Absolutely.
It's just centuries and centuries of. We're going to take a break, and we've got two of the people in who will be singing.
Yes.
And we're going to have them one at a time join us. So,
great.
Reese, thank you.
Yeah, glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Be right back.
Are you just starting out on your own and want to be independent? Do you have a family and need a bigger home? Are the kids moving out? And are you downsizing? First Carolina Realty can help. A 1 or 2 bedroom apartment or house for those starting out. A 3 or 4 bedroom home for a growing family. Rentals, sales, new homes, pre-owned homes, investment property in the city or in the country. Call First Carolina Realty. Now is a good time to make that move. Real estate prices are right, interest rates are low, and there is a fantastic selection of homes available.
First Carolina Realty is a fully licensed real estate firm with offices at 3151 Zebulon Road in Rocky Mount.
If you have rental properties and are tired of the headaches associated with managing them yourself, or if you're looking for a new management team to manage your rental properties, call First Carolina Realty at 252-985-2321. Visit our webpage at firstcarolinarealty.com. We will gladly help you with all your real estate needs.
Hi, I'm Jean Almond of Almond's Drugs, and I want to invite you to be Almond's customer for your prescriptions. Our average pharmacy wait for your prescription is only 10 to 15 minutes. We have drive-through windows at both locations. We will deliver your prescription free. Our friendly and very experienced pharmacists specialize in consultation, and we are locally owned and have been a loyal part of your community for over 70 years. Just make one phone call to us, and we'll make the transfer so we can start taking care of you. Joseph Etup has joined us, and we are delighted. And I hear you have a fabulous voice.
Thank you, yes.
What do you sing?
I will be singing tenor in this.
Fabulous. And Al Sturgis, of course, with us. Al, you know a lot about him. How about if the two of you talk, and I'll just enjoy it?
Well, I've had the pleasure to work with Joseph for a couple of years now. He came to my attention through mutual friends in Raleigh. He's based in Raleigh now, but he's looking to start his sort of at the beginning of his professional singing career. And we've been blessed to have Joseph sing some things with our professional chamber choir. And I've heard Joseph sing some solo work, and so I thought he would be the perfect voice for this Beethoven Mass. And so the way the structure of the Mass works, there are 4 solo voices who sort of work mainly as a quartet, interspersed with the chorus. So there's not a lot of arias per se, like you would have an opera or standard oratorio, but you'll get a chance to hear a good bit of Mr. Etup in this. So Joseph, why don't you tell us just a little bit about sort of where you began your vocal studies?
So background is I started with the Raleigh Boy Choir for 8-something years. I'd say elementary school up until early high school. And then I went to North Carolina School of the Arts up in Winston-Salem for vocal opera performance. And I did that for about 5 years. And I just sang with local orchestras there, High Point, Winston-Salem, that whole area. And then after that, I came back to Raleigh, and then I learned, being away from the area for so long, all my contacts are gone, so I had to rebuild that. So for the next, I'd say 2-3 years, I've been just singing for every person you could think of. So Al Sturgis was one of the many people who I wanted to sing for, and just over time, he asked me for more and more things, and it was every time it was such a pleasure to work with him. And so for him to ask me this it was just such a great opportunity. I couldn't resist.
This is the first sort of big solo thing you've done with the chorale, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, most of what Joseph has done with us has been ensemble, like select ensemble thing. And I just found out an interesting little fun fact about Joseph, which makes him, I think, a better singer. He just confessed to me some weeks ago that his main instrument was clarinet for a long time.
Yes.
Which I think some of the orchestra might be interested to find out as well.
When I auditioned at School of the Arts, I studied clarinet for like 10-something years. And when I auditioned for School of the Arts, I auditioned for both clarinet and voice. I never got an acceptance letter or denial letter for clarinet, but I did for voice. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be a voice major.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the universe has a way of sort of helping you find your path, right?
Is your family musical? Were you brought up and encouraged?
My ancestry is Indian, obviously, but I was born and raised in North Carolina. So I spent most of my time in Cary, actually, in the whole Raleigh area, going to schools there. But my sisters sing. My mother used to sing a whole lot. My father, he enjoys music, big Elvis fan. But other than that, I mean, it's always been pretty great.
Yeah, that counts.
Well, and as far as with parents watching, it's important for there to be music and encouraging music to study, to either play instruments or sing and be able to read music in a family growing up, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I'm 100% agree, because I feel like exposure is one of the many things to get people involved, because I know plenty of my friends who, when I sing for them, they're like, oh, how can you do that? How do you... And I'm just like, it just comes so natural to me, just like they can appreciate that. I feel like anyone has that ability to appreciate music.
And Joseph's a wonderful musician. We're really fortunate to have him. And you also have perfect pitch, is that right?
Yes.
Which makes
perfect
it...
pitch, wow.
Which can be a little fussy in an ensemble sometimes. if the ensemble's going sort of a little away from the center, and it probably drives Joseph crazy.
Yeah, you have to go with it, though.
But you can probably tell from his speaking voice. I mean, it's a really big,
voice.
it's a big operatic voice. I mean, and even as a tenor, he's got a lot of good sort of baritone warmth in the sound. And I think folks will be excited to hear what he brings to the proceedings.
Oh, can't wait.
He can cut over the orchestra without much problem.
Al, on April 25th, speaking of singing, you're going to be back again for that, and I believe the children are singing in that.
Yes, they've got a solo feature on that, and this is kind of an interesting program we're doing. We're calling it TROC Rocks. That's our Tar River Orchestra and Choruses, TROC, and we're doing mostly highlights from the 70s, so we're hoping to draw folks out, little Led Zeppelin and... oh gosh, who else is on the program?
You have to come back and watch it.
Yeah, but sort of all of the Eagles and Billy Joel and a little Elvis and I mean just everything. I think people who have sort of a nostalgic sense for music of that era will really enjoy that. All in beautiful orchestral arrangements, and then I think Patsy Gilliland and the kids are going to come and sing a few things. I think she's talking about maybe doing an arrangement of John Lennon's Imagine, of course, classic, So that should be a lot of fun. It'll be a chance for people who might be a little bit hesitant to come here in orchestra, but this is a sort of a safe way for them to do it because it's music that they know, music that they recognize, and music that they can enjoy listening to.
Well, and with Patsy's leadership, I mean, she's helping to cultivate the future Josephs. They may not have perfect pitch, but I think the earlier we can expose our children to hear it, not only as Reese referenced, it helps with thinking skills. It really does.
Absolutely.
But it just enriches people's lives, doesn't it, Joseph?
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, thank you. We're going to take another break. And Megan, who is also going to be singing on the 7th, will join us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your coming. And we have Megan Crossan, who's joined us, and you are going to be singing also on November 7th.
I am.
Al, tell us about Megan.
Well, Megan, as you will all hear next weekend, is a wonderful, delightful soprano, and I have been so pleased to have Megan in our musical family in Raleigh. One day she actually, lo and behold, she came and she sang for me, and I was blown away.
Wow.
I mean, I just had no idea.
What a gift.
I had no idea that this was such a talent. So here she is, sitting in the midst of our 65 voice soprano section, and we've been able to utilize her wonderful skills as a soloist on a couple of occasions. Last season she was featured in our Foray Durflay Requiem performance that we did with the chorale in Raleigh, and she was the featured soprano soloist for that. And I thought she would be
featured soloist. Wow.
I thought she'd be wonderful in this Mass in C, and have a chance to bring her here to Rocky Mount so folks could hear her down here in Rocky Mount as well.
And I'm thrilled to be doing it.
But it's a wonderful voice. I mean, just really crystal clear and just soars above the orchestra. And I don't know as much about Megan's past before Raleigh, before she came
That's
to...
right. I don't think I've ever given you a resume.
Yeah, well, let's
hear
hear
it.
it.
Yeah.
It's true. Our paths have crossed. I've been in Raleigh about 16 years, and I don't know how we first met each other, but I've been involved in my performance career as a dancer and in the theater and as a classically trained vocalist. And I know that in one of our first meetings, I was in one theater at the Raleigh Memorial Auditorium conducting Raleigh Little Theater's seasonal annual production of Cinderella, while he was in the next one conducting Nutcracker, and he blocked me in with his car. And that was one of the first times I was thrilled and nervous that I actually got to talk to him, because I knew who he was, and I knew that I should have sung for him, but I don't know why I didn't. Anyway. Yeah, I'm kind of entrenched in all areas of the performing arts. I'm from Dallas originally and started out as a dancer. I was a ballet dancer for about 15, 16 years, dancing and very serious about it. Studied in New York, danced with a ballet company, and started taking voice lessons at around 14 or 15. I come from a family of actors and performers. My father was a radio announcer and TV personality, and I studied theater in college in Dallas, but took dance classes with the dance majors and took voice lessons with somebody in the music department. So I was becoming kind of the all three thing was my love, and my path was to do that. And I engaged in many musical theater productions. I've sung many different styles, from studio work and jingles. I was in a band. I've made one really bad film, but I've always trained classically. I've always kept the vocal training classical in Dallas, in Maryland. I've studied from somebody with the Metropolitan Opera. And I think having a background in dance, the classical phrasing and musicology of all of those great works is kind of entrenched in my physical way I approach music, which is very important. So I love the fact that Maestro Sturgis here is also involved in so many of those disciplines. And I knew that we should have connected, because he conducts the ballet, and if he has to, he'll sing right from the conductor's podium.
I didn't know that. Wonderful.
And I have been known to, yes.
And my hope one day is that I will get to sing with you.
Okay.
Doing something fun. Okay. And so he's theatrical and musical, and here's the classical thing. And I'm thrilled that we finally connected, and I'm able to sit in the chorus and sing these wonderful works, but even more thrilled that I've been given a chance to be out front and do some of the solo work, which means so much to me. And I've sung with the ballet for him too in Messiah, so it makes me happy.
What brought you to the Raleigh area?
Interesting question. I've kind of been all over, up and down. My husband was a private chef, and he's from the DC area. And so when he got his culinary degree, all the things that were happening in North Carolina, RTP, Research Triangle, it was sort of like we could go back north or back south, and we ended up right in the middle, and that's just what we did. He was a professional musician when I met him. And I opened a business here in Frederick for dancers. It was a dance for a store. And I believe I have had customers from Rocky Mount that used to come to my store, and I would love to know who they are and say, come see this, because they don't know me as a singer. They know me in that venue, and it's always very interesting to run into old customers.
And it's nice. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say one thing that Megan talked about was a stylistic breadth, which I think is one of the things I really appreciate her as a singer, because she has this wonderful ability as a soloist to really stand out. But yet I can put her in a section and we can do something with a small Baroque chorus, and she can fit right into that. And the fact that you have all this background now sort of makes sense to me. That she can do the lighter things, she can do the more commercial things or popular things, and it's the same kind of breadth that we're talking about that the Tar River organization can bring to folks. I mean, everything from the rock show to the kids' music to this wonderful Beethoven classic to swing band, and I think that kind of breadth and variety in a musician, for someone to be able to express all those different styles, I think is really so important. And I can appreciate the fact that Megan is able to do that.
And how wonderful we are, or how fortunate we are to have you to be able to lead all of this, because obviously people with Megan's talent seek out people with whom they can grow and enjoy their music. Before we close, I want to just mention, besides November 7th, in case that date has already passed, on December 5th at Fellowship Church in Nashville, there's an annual holiday concert. On February 25th at the Dunn Center, the 26th at the Dunn Center. There is a Bring on the Spring band classic on Church on the Rise on March 19th. Swinging in is just the beginning. Brown Auditorium on the 25th of April. You'll be back with
rock and roll.
Rock and roll. And concluding at a backyard concert at Dan and Brenda Crocker on May 30th. So fabulous season, very different this year from what it's been, but you don't want to miss it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.